Well, here we are, folks. We're actually doing something a little bit different today. I'm at the Orange National Field Days, no, Australian National Field Days, and we're at Bora and Ore in the central west of New South Wales. We're going to have a look around and show you some sights. Well, this is a name that I've only just come across in the last week or so. I think you pronounce it Lugong. Apologies if that's wrong, but I think that's the name. And I had an email from the guys at Lugong in Melbourne telling me that they had brought in a new series of small mini excavators, and this one isn't the smallest one. This is probably, I'd say, a mid-sized one. This is 2.7 tonne. This is a 9027 FZTS. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Got the pricing here for the punters to know what it is. So it's 47,500 plus GST. So what's that, 51,000 all up? On the board there it says 5-year, 5,000 hour full machine warranty. Comes with a 300 450 dig buckets and a 1,000mm mud bucket hydraulic quick hitch. And I've only just seen pictures of these actually. I haven't spent a lot of time. I've looked on the internet to see what they're like, and the interesting thing is what I found out just last week is Lugong as a manufacturer are in the top 10 of construction equipment worldwide. So that's not a bad effort, but they are also the biggest manufacturer of wheel loaders in the world. Just look at the operator station here. It all looks quite nice. The setup is good. It's quite stylish actually for what it is. You can see it's got the control panel there, instrumentation. It's obviously got side controls or pilot controls on it in this model. The rear door here opens all the way up. It's hinged at the back there so you can get access to the motor. So this uses a Yanmar engine in the 2.7 tonne machine, and you can see that you can just about get to everything there. That you've got your filters for the engine here, the diesel filter here. You can add oil in the top there. Air filter's easy to access, and the hydraulic pumps and everything are over on that side. It's got a nice substantial blade on there. You can see that reinforcing and channel there on that blade. It doesn't pivot or swivel. It's just a straight edge blade. And this is obviously in this size of machine, the 2.7 tonne machine. It's just a fixed width here across there. It's non-expandable one on this model. Nice indication there of the grease points, telling you what's where. This is an area where I think a lot of people actually neglect. Like they'll do all the points on the arms and all the way down the arms, and they'll do all the pivot pins. But a lot of people, I think, forget that you need to grease the swivel plate here, or the house plate. It's really important that that doesn't run dry. And just looking up at the top of the ROPS there, and you can see this system here that they've actually got glass or plastic or something in the top there. So if you've got something that you're working in up high, you can actually see through the roof. So that's not a bad idea. Looks like there's a lot of plumbing on the front here to put sort of third and fourth functions on there. There's no quick disconnects or anything on there, but I suppose that's an easy enough thing to fix. All the hydraulic lines are covered in this extra thick material for extra protection. Then they actually disappear through the stick here and then run up in the middle of the arm, so there's nothing to be damaged by hitting anything underneath or even on top. LED work light there, and the stick boom here with a protective cover to protect the cylinder. And that's where all the hoses from the front, they come out there and then go in underneath. So I guess that would mean that if you did a hose in the front, that you would have to undo it here and pull it out of here somewhere. I don't know how you get it out from inside there. and pull it all the way from the front here and then all the way out there. So that's a fair run of hydraulic line, isn't it? So while I'm looking at all these excavators and mini excavators, they're probably all a bit too big for what I'm interested in, but let's see if we can find somebody that's actually looking for a mini excavator. Okay, Lenny, you're local?
Yep, out at Molong, yep, that's right.
And you're at the field days, and what's on your shopping list?
Well, there's a few things on the shopping list. I normally come every year, but this year I'm actually after a mini excavator if I can get hold of one. I've actually been online looking at a few, but and I've actually been at a friend's place. He's actually just bought one, which is I think it's a Chinese brand. He bought it from down in Sydney and it seems to do everything that he wants it to do. But if I can come out to the field days and get a bit of an idea on what everyone else is selling out here, it'll be good.
And what would you use it for on the farm? What do you think you'd get up to with it?
Oh, mate, just digging your trenches and that sort of thing around the yard and a bit of gardening. And I don't intend on doing contract work with it, so it's just myself around the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be lent out to anyone,
to
your mates and that sort of thing. But
yeah, that's right. Don't lend it to your mates. You never know what'll come back in. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So have you looked at sort of pricing structure or how much your budget is? Yet?
Oh, look, probably around about the 25 mark would probably pull me up. But,
yeah.
I see here they've got excavators here.
Yes, these are the Lugong ones. Yep.
The Lugong is actually quite a good-looking machine, so something in that sort of field. It doesn't have to be all that expensive, as long as it does the job.
Well, if you were looking at, say, a Cat or a Kubota or something like that, you'd be out of the budget range on that for sure.
There's a fair chance, yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, let's see if you can find one here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can track one down.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, now we're looking at a little case digger. This is a 1.7 tonne machine, and the model number of this one is a CX17C, 1.7 tonne. What I can notice looking at the bottom of the stick here is that it's got lines that are going down into the pins, so I'd say it would have a hydraulic hitch on it. This case machine comes standard with the 3 buckets in the deal. Now this can change in a whole heap of different machines here, so you see that we've got outside run hydraulic lines that go along the arm here that go along to the front. We've seen the Lugong one, I think that they put the lines down through the centre of the arm, so there's nothing on the exterior part here. And some of them also have like steel lines that they run on the top of the stick that run down. The only problem I can see is when you're running along hydraulic lines like this that are rubber, that if this line, for example, blew, you would have to disconnect it there and take all of this cable out back to this point here. Whereas if you had a steel pipe configuration, then you'd have steel all the way along here and then just a shorter section like here where you've got rubber just going down to there. So let's just look at the operator platform there, and we start at the front. You can see that the travel controls here are there. It's also got auxiliary controls here on your foot controls for your different functions and stuff, and you've got a lockout flap on that one so you don't get any feet in the way. It doesn't have any foot pedals on the travel motor control here, it's just using the sticks, but that's probably still okay. And there's a little push button here. If you look in here, there's a little yellow button that says turtle and rabbit, so fast and slow travel speed there. The controls on the side is what we sort of start to expect to see now. Master lockout here on the side as well. Nice comfortable looking seat, if that means anything. We'll go over the other side and have a look at the controls there. So on your control on the right hand side here for the stick control, you can see that here there's a number of push buttons and toggle switches here, which I guess is for third and fourth function controls here, having them right at your fingertips, which is good. So it's a case, it's a Korean made digger, well-known brand. I've just found out the price on this one is about $40,000 plus GST, and that's pricing from October in 2023. So about 40 grand plus GST for this 1.7 tonne machine. Just looking in the back here, the door's open. So the engine in this one is a familiar Kubota D902 engine, which is pretty familiar with most of the diggers on the market at the minute. All that looks pretty accessible there. You can see down here there's a oil filter for the engine down in there, diesel particulate here, air filter up here, fluids, and all that looks pretty easy to get to. Now unfortunately, because this is a static display, we can't start it up and try it out and use it. I mean, I'd really like to, but at this stage, unfortunately, I can't actually get on it and try it for myself. Now, Orange has a lot of good memories for me. I came up to Orange in 1985. I lived in Bathurst, and it's called Bathurst, not Bathurst, by the way. And I came up to Orange in 1985 for 2 weeks' work and ended up staying here for 20 years, got married, had 2 children, and started a business. Okay, now I'm looking at another small 1.7 tonne machine. This is a New Holland machine, and the model number on this one is an E17C. And when I first saw that sticker, I thought, oh, it's electric, because a lot of the mini diggers that are electric start with an E, but I'm pretty sure that this one is a diesel powered machine. And if this looks sort of familiar, then if you've looked at the case machine and then come and look at this one, they are, well, to my eye, they look exactly the same. Seat padding may be a little bit different, but the controls, the dash, the pedal configuration down here, that all looks very familiar. And if I look at the build tag on the front, you can see here that it looks, even the tag looks very familiar to the case one, and this one is also made in South Korea. I would think that the specs on this one is almost identical to the case CX-17 that we have looked at. So I guess if you were in the market to buy something in this price range, then you would just, would it just come down to who does the best deal? Like if they're exactly the same machine on specifications and performance, do you pick the cheaper machine? I guess it also depends on the warranty. I guess they would have the same sort of warranty on them, and the parts backup would be important as well. So if you buy a mini digger and you get a package deal, then chances are you'll probably get an auger drive motor and the auger bit thrown into the deal as well. But you can, of course, buy them as a third party after you buy a digger, but they're not cheap. I think the last time I looked online, just even getting a reasonably small size one for, say, a 1 tonne or a 1.2 tonne machine, you could be looking at sort of $4 or $5 grand. Range of little boomer tractors there. This one with a mower on the bottom. So this particular tractor is a Boomer 25C, so I'm guessing it's 25 horsepower. It is a sort of a small frame tractor. You know, if I compare it to my John Deere 2025, certainly the frame on the John Deere is a bit bigger than this one, but it's probably the same horsepower. Bucket size, it's sort of comparable. It looks a little bit wider, but not quite as high, so I think the capacity would be probably similar to the 2025 R that I have. Comes with turf tyres rather than an agricultural or radial tyre. And this is probably in the more my budget. Could buy one of these for the grandson and he could zoom around and do some digging in this. Okay, here we're looking at the Sany machine, and the model number of this one is a Sany SY16C. Okay, just looking at the spec sheet here, the big thing that stands out for me is look at this price. So $29,984 plus GST. So you're looking at about $33,000 just under. The engine in this machine is a Yanmar 3TN V80, so this is a 14.6 kilowatt machine, and the warranty on this machine is 5 years. One feature that I do notice about this Sany machine, that it's very open. There's a lot of room around your feet in the operator area there. It looks very spacious. I don't know exactly why that is, but it seems to be more room in there than some of the other smaller machines we've looked at. Also, what I like on this machine is the fact that on the travel controls here, you can use it on the stick, but you've also got the pedals here, so you can actually drive it with your feet, which I think is a good thing. Not a lot of the smaller manufacturers tend to put these on their mini excavators, but I think that's a real positive. And one thing on this Sany machine I wanted to point out was the use of the metal lines here, which we've commented on before, but I like this sort of system. So if you actually do a hose or something at the front, you only have to replace a short hose, not something all the way back underneath the unit. So I quite like that idea. So at the top of the canopy here we have these LED work lights. There's one over there and one here, and they're quite nice and high, which would be good. Now I do like this machine. I think this would be the perfect weight and size that I would probably upgrade to from my 1.2 tonne machine. I would probably go up to something like this. And what's the really attractive thing with this machine is the price. So we looked at it earlier there, and the price on this machine is 29, almost 30,000 plus GST. This is prices in October 2023 in Australia, and so if you look at that with GST, you're looking at about $33,000 full price. Now if you compare that to for example the Case machine and the New Holland machine we looked at, so that Case machine for the same size machine was 39,000 plus GST, so say 43,000, so that's almost $10,000 more for the Case or the New Holland machine over this Sany machine. Now the difference also is that this is a Chinese made machine and the Case and the New Holland are made in South Korea. Well, it was good to see the machinery, but unfortunately we weren't allowed to start it or try any of the machinery, and that's a little bit frustrating because you can look at it, but unless you can actually start it and try it out, it's a bit hard to appreciate whether the machine's good or not. And I was led to believe that there was a demonstration area somewhere around here that you could try out some of the machines, but it doesn't look like that's happening. Nice original old Ford there. What is it? Model T, Model A, I'm not too sure. And these water bags are on the front. I don't know if overseas people would know what this is, but as a kid we grew up and you'd put your water in there, put it on the front of the car, and the breeze on the front would cool it down. And nearly every vehicle when I was growing up in the 60s and the 70s had one of those stuck to the front of it, and it was a good thing. This is the John Deere stand, and it's operated by Hutchison and Pearce, which are they're the agents out here in the Central West for John Deere product. That's a mower like mine, the Z355E. Current price on that is $7,350, including GST. Now this would be quite a popular combination for a small farm. So this is a 1025, is that right? 1025R. So it comes with the 260B backhoe on the back. So it's 1025, 25 horsepower, no DPF. This one is fitted with a straight, oh no, it's got the 4-in-1 bucket. The 120R factory arms on it. And if you wanted to buy one of these currently, you would pay $30,990 including the backhoe. And this is like an old friend to me. This is the John Deere E18 ZS or ZS. I've had a look at this a couple of times at my local John Deere dealer, and I really like it. This is a unit that's made by Wacker-Neuson. It's exactly the same model, just a slightly different colour scheme, but mechanically, operationally, they're exactly the same. Just look at the latest pricing that's up here, and they've actually reduced the pricing on this a little bit. So you can see up there it says save $6,000. So this E18 ZS was originally retailing for about $44,990 and it's now down to $39,990. But I was talking to the rep just then and he said that the John Deere pricing is all going up next week. I really do like them. I like the size of the machine, but I just, you know, the price is up there, isn't it? If you see down here, I don't know if you can read the plate here, in very small letters down here, it says it's made by the Wacker-Neuson Machinery Company. Very, very small letters, but yeah, made last year, by the way, 2022. Another interesting fact I just learnt from the rep, I asked him what the comparison was between the Wacker-Neuson machinery and this machine, and he seemed to indicate that they had come to an agreement where they would retail them at exactly the same price. A JCB 18Z1. So there's a nice JCB unit here, but I just went over and had a closer look and noticed that there's a bit of a puddle under there, and it's looks like it's leaking oil. So this little JCB has 14.5 hours on it, and I don't know whether that means that it's new or second hand. I'd like to give you the price on this one, but there's about 6 salesmen sitting over there under a marquee that can't be bothered to come over to see whether I'm interested or not, so I can't tell you how much this one is. This is another small digger, and I might have shown this at one of the other field days. So this is a Bobcat. This is an E17Z. So it's 1.7 tonne machine. It's a Bobcat. It's a Bobcat. So Bobcat on this particular machine are another company that have tried to enclose a lot of their hydraulic piping inside the stick arm. You can see that it comes out here just into this ram for the stick lift. Then you can see out here that it pops out, and all these look like they're metal pipes here, and it goes into these quick disconnects, these very large actually quick disconnects there. And this particular demonstration unit is actually set up with this log splitter on the front, and I've seen a couple of the US channels that I watch. Guys are buying these and putting these on their excavators and mini diggers to be able to cut firewood. Well, that's it. Thank you, Australian National Field Days in Orange, for the show this year. It was good to get out and see some people and see some machinery. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you everybody for watching and supporting the channel. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.